story that we are covering is the Pope. As we said, day 2 of the conclave in Rome. After 3 votes amongst the cardinals, still no consensus who will be the next pontiff. Scripps News correspondent Joe St. George is in Rome for us, covering every detail and development, and joins us now. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Holly, and hello. As we overlook Rome, I'm feeling very holy because we have 3 Roman Catholic priests joining us here live on Morning Rush. Father Francesco, Father Ignatius, Father Shenan, and Father Francesco, both from the United States, from Spain. So truly a global perspective here as we think, right? We're never 100% sure, but we think the 4th round is beginning right now. Are you surprised at all that that the voting has gone this long?
No, absolutely not. This is normal, I think, and we also have to think that even when we had a few cardinals back in the 14th century, we had like even 16 cardinals keeping it going for 2 years. So it's not strange.
How long, you know so much about Rome, you know some of these cardinals going into this conclave. How long do you think this conclave might go? Could this be longer than the conclave to elect Pope Francis or Pope Benedict or even Pope John Paul II?
It could be. No, it could be more or less. It's normally 2, 3, 4 days at the most. Yeah, I mean, people say that it could go longer, but they've had a chance to get to know each other, so I would think that it would be maybe 3, 4 days at the most.
To you, what are the biggest issues facing the Roman Catholic Church right now here in 2025?
The biggest issues facing the Catholic Church? Well, I mean, you have the issue of the media keeps bringing up, the morality of the priests, and that's a big issue, and that's going to be a big issue also for who the Pope is. Then you have family issues. You have the whole situation with the family today in the world. That's a big issue that we have to face. Yeah, I mean, those are big issues. The media also talks about the immigration issues. Those are also issues that we have to face right now. All the wars, and that's definitely something that we have to face.
Father Ignatius, you're from Spain, from the Archdiocese of Toledo. Is there a sense of, first off, this is such a global story, right? Because every corner of the planet is watching this chimney now. What are some of the bigger issues facing the church in Europe that maybe differ from the United States Catholics, for instance?
In Europe, we have the problem of secularization of Europe. Also, we have the problem of immigration. We have a lot of Muslims in Europe, and that is a big problem for us in the future, because we have to face with a new society where the Christians might be a minority, and that is something that is growing. No, the fact that
it's just to provide some context here. Yeah, grab some. It's warm. Yeah, come on in. I love this. This is live television at its finest. What you're alluding to is that for years and years in Spain, the church was so powerful, and now you may be a minority. That is an issue.
We are a minority in which regards the births. The majority of the births in Spain are not children of Spaniards, but are children of Muslims or children of Latin Americans. The original Spaniards don't have many children. So the fact is that when you go to a school or you go to a high school in Spain, you find that more than 50% of the students, their parents are not Spaniards.
Is there a cardinal that you are particularly looking at or praying for to maybe be elected?
We want a cardinal, we want a man that is holy, that confirms our faith, and that might make possible that we can evangelize and give the message of Jesus Christ to those who come to Europe and who are pagan and need to be evangelized.
I want to bring in Father Shenan here while we have the moment. We'll just switch spots if we can. Again, it's a tiny area overlooking St. Peter's Basilica. But Father Shenan, first off, how do you just feel as a priest at this moment? I mean, I'm not a priest. I'm a Catholic, but you sense the excitement every time smoke appears. Just what does this mean to you personally?
Well, it really does show the universality of our church. You know, whether we be from the United States or Africa or parts of Asia, Latin America, this affects all of us. And so it really is a historic moment that we get to be a part of, and we get to actually today with social media, as we're doing right now, to be part of immediately. So it's not something we're going to hear in a news story a few hours later. We're going to actually hear the news very quickly. So it's very exciting. And for myself, who had planned, you know, to be here in Rome for some meetings prior to the death of Pope Francis, and I honored, you know, the schedule we had. And, you know, it's really, I'm very humbled to be here and to be part of this moment of time.
Let's talk about the American cardinals if we can. You know, everyone says, an American will never be elected pope, but there's some chatter amongst some of them. Could you at least share some of the names that maybe could be elected to the papacy?
Well, sure. I mean, people have been, you know, speaking about, you know, from Cardinal Dolan in New York. You've heard the name Cardinal Burke, you know, people are familiar with. And, you know, it's not, you know, to be unheard of that we would not hear their names. I mean, these are cardinals from the United States. They are on the global stage. You know, they're on the local news. We hear, you know, stories about them, articles written by them, comments and interviews like we're doing today. But, you know, I think what's important for us is to see that the church in America is part of the universal church. And, you know, it does have a voice, and it's one that's very important as it's part of the West. It's part of the culture that we're trying to deal with and secular values. And so to hear the cardinals speak to these issues is very important. And so I think it is good, you know, that people, you know, realize whether or not we'll see, you know, a cardinal from the United States walk on the loggia. Well, and who knows? But
would you be surprised, Father, if the conclave goes beyond tomorrow?
Well, I think, you know, as Father Giordano mentioned, some of the critical issues that we heard in the congregations, you know, were very important. So, you know, again, all of us, we don't know. I mean, tonight we could hear news, tomorrow, but I think what's important really are the global issues. And, you know, Father mentioned one that you asked him that I think is so important, and that is the family. You know, how do we recognize the assault that's been done, you know, to the family, to our understanding of marriage, the beauty of children that Father mentioned here, you know, with regard to the demographics. So, you know, I think these are very critical issues being discussed in the conclave. How do we address these issues, and who would we want to be, in a sense, our Holy Father to represent the church in this conversation, to articulate what the church teaches and how to address those issues. So I think this is a very important question. So I think that's the deliberations are very, probably, I would guess, pretty intense.
Is there any candidate that maybe we're not talking about that you say, don't forget about that cardinal, that could emerge?
I think, you know, any of the cardinals that we would see from the developing world that we would
Africa?
You know, Africa is an example, you know, which really, from my perspective and, you know, and being around the world working in the bioethical issues, you know, the life and family issues, that, you know, Africa is ground zero for much of the Western ideology that's intruding upon family and faith values in Africa. So to have a voice, you know, emerge from the African continent would be very important and speak volume, you know, to the very issues that we need to address.
Roman Catholic priests from all over the world joining us live here on Scripps News to talk about this historic moment, Holly, in the life of the Roman Catholic Church. Again, we believe that round 4 voting is happening now. We could soon see smoke. Who knows, Holly? Back to you in Atlanta.
And Joe, we have about 30 seconds. Quick question. Are you seeing people gather in St. Peter's Square waiting for that chimney to give us some kind of an answer?
Talk about the crowds, Father, if you can, just what you've seen in St. Peter's Square.
What have I seen in St. Peter? Well, I've seen, for the last couple of weeks, I mean, we have had the Jubilee. So we have been used to having lots of crowds this last year in general. But since I got back, because I was out for Holy Week, and I got back, and it's just been crowded beyond belief because the Pope's death, because of Pope Francis's death, the funeral, it's just been crowded.
Is it powerful to see all those people looking at the chimney?
Oh, you mean just for the conclave, of course. Oh, yesterday I was at the first ballots, essentially, and it was powerful, yeah. It all got crowded really quickly. I was here in 2013 as well, and there wasn't as much security back in 2013. So people just gushed in. I had friends of mine in 2005, and the gushing in from everywhere when the news came out. But now there's the security checks, and so there's the moving in, but there's security checks. So it's more difficult to get in. And so that was an interesting facet of this time around.
Well, I feel like I need to go to confession now. I don't know. I was going to be surrounded by 3 priests. Holly, back to you.
Scripps News Deputy Political Director Joe St. George. Thanks, Joe.